Thanks for staying with us. So, an on-air personality, Oyoyo Baby, took to her Instagram page to bitterly address private schools, especially for allegedly making textbooks no longer useful and making sure assignments and texts are done in the textbooks, thereby rendering it useless for others to use. She reminded us of how we were growing up and how when a child uses a certain textbook, it can actually be passed down to other children. But today, considering the economy and the situation Nigerians have found themselves, it's so difficult for parents to be able to purchase books and then have the children use those books for their activities within the textbooks and thereby rendering those books useless for the next generation. Now, what are your thoughts on this? I mean, this is a conversation. Aside from the issue of textbooks, there are other relatable issues concerning schools, requirements for children. I mean, my kids are being asked, it's international, no, it's October 1st, it's coming up very soon, it's National Day, right? So I have 4 kids, and the school is asking them to dress in different countries, in different tribes, and all 4 children have been given 4 different tribes. Now I'm looking for Igbo attire for somebody, Fulani for another person, I'm looking for Salsa for somebody else, and I'm thinking, why am I running out of scouts looking for me? It's really, really frustrating. Why don't we just, yes, we're going to celebrate our national unity, but must we dress in that way? So it's frustrating. So it's also part of the changes we are seeing in schools and how our parents reacting to it, given the economic situations that we find ourselves. That's our conversation this morning. You can call us on 081 0764 1679 090 241 63440. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTVC so we can read your tweets. Let's start with this example that the other personalities talked about, the textbooks. I mean, I understand how she felt, but I also know that even textbooks in different parts of the world also have activities. So usually you buy books and their activities. So maybe we also took a leaf from them that we cannot keep doing this thing. I don't know, but what are your thoughts on when you heard them?
When we went to school, because I went to Unity School, Federal School, and so our books used to come in the proper way textbooks should come. Big ups to the Ministry of Defense then, under the Education Department. So we'll buy our textbooks, and each textbook writer had an activity book at the back of it. That activity book, your parents can decide to change, but your textbook can be passed down. And I never had to burn any textbook growing up, but now we are parenting children, and we're seeing schools do it. So the last time our school have had to address it, parents were, you have 2-3 kids. Some people had 7 kids in the same school, 2 in a class. Then they have 2 younger ones who are going to approach the same class, and they also too have to buy textbook over and over again. Yesterday, I went to my son's school, and I paid for books that are in the Western education category, because in Islamic education, there are no changes. The same set of hadiths that they will take for primary schools, the same set of hifz that they will memorize. Why do I have to buy the books? I have 3 copies from the senior sister's zone alone, and 2 copies from his own. That's 5 copies. We've given out copies over and over. So we've addressed it. Certain subjects are changing. Some are not changing. There's no point. So you're allowed as a parent to remove the ones that you already have that are in good condition and rebuy another one. But the way books are now published is such a way that you must buy, because people too have to earn. In our country where we don't, ensure that there's proper intellectual property protection for certain books, except you go extra mile to put all the factors in place as a writer. You need this kind of thing. So you write your book in a way that the activity book is inside the textbook, so that the next session you will still be in business.
So saying it that way. So she is lamenting, but another business owner is also lamenting.
I'm on the fence on this one.
Okay.
So as a parent, I have suffered it, but I see the side of the writer easily. Yeah. I see them. And there are certain books that you can exempt. There are certain books that you must use. The fact is that writers have to eat.
Yeah.
If you keep recycling books, we know we always also do borrowing books and all of that. Yeah. People who have done this business, who cannot guarantee that there's protection for their intellectual property, might not even have to fit. So you see a writer not really living the life here, as opposed to abroad.
So I think you're absolutely right on that, because that's the 2 sides of it. But what are your own thoughts on this?
So I think, also we need to factor in certain things like maybe private schools and public schools, right? Like it's time that private schools, people that go to private schools can afford the fees and can afford a certain lifestyle, okay? So maybe we can have the same book, and then have the ones for private school, and have the ones for public school, where by the ones for public school, they can have an activity book where they are not writing or doing the activity inside the textbook, and they can pass it or share because they can't afford it. They are struggling to even pay the tuition to send their kids to school. So there has to be a middle ground in this, for me, in this situation, because the reality is that we're going through a very tough time in the economy, and everybody is trying to cut costs. As in, you can't say because like I own in Yanga Lagos, and then because I want people to also come and buy, that people should not pass down their clothes to children. I grew up in a home where I wear, my sister would wear, and that kind of thing. Yeah, they pass it on.
I know of Lagos State public schools. I don't know of any other state, but because I've done some work in Lagos State public schools, the government provides these books, and these books are actually, they also have activity books. So you can't even pass them. Once the child gets the book, the activities are in the book. So government actually pays and provides these books for these children because it's a public school. But Mike, let me hear your own thoughts on this, because as I said, Nima has given us both sides. The writers in our country, sadly, many of them have never really enjoyed the wealth of the expected wealth from the intellectual property. And that's one of the things that was in the Minister of Culture was saying, that there's going to be an intellectual property shield for Nigerians, because that's what we need. If I don't feel that the work I have done, I can actually earn from it, then there's no point in me trying to be creative to do more stuff. So until we have that, we have to also protect them. How do you protect them? Ensure that people are always buying. But this is a mother complaining that I can't have 4 children and not be able to share books. What are your thoughts? How do we find a middle ground?
You don't have 4 children.
You only had 1.
Because the population is
expanding.
So maybe we should all reduce. Our men should now start using.
Okay, you're taking it another angle now. We'll talk about that. You're discussing the men should. What are we? How does the thing correlate? What are you saying?
They do family planning.
The
children are already on ground.
What does that have to do with books?
Well, you're just going to have to deal with the issue. Because the issue is that, because I've seen these books, everything is inside the book.
Yeah.
There is no way we are going to pass. There are some books you will still pass on. It's not everything. So manage yourself. I have 4 children. I manage myself. Everybody must chop.
Yes, sir.
I want to come back to Morayo, when Morayo said that for the public schools, that the government. But
only in Lagos.
Okay. So let's talk about Lagos State. And we're in a situation where we're trying to say government should even cut down costs. So I even expect the government to even take an initiative to know that there should be a textbook and activity book, so that they keep passing down those textbooks to save costs for the government, so that the education sector can also cut down costs, because this is where we're going as a country. We need to be realistic. Do you understand? But if the government is paying for this and we're trying to cut down costs, we should also look into stuff like this.
Amaka, that is not cutting down costs now, because that's 2 books instead of 1. That's 2 books.
But at least the main one, they can now pass it down.
I still...
Let me tell you what has happened, Auntie. Let me tell you. See, this is always nice, sounds nice when we're gisting about, in our nice private sector lifestyle. You get those books for these people. You know what happens sometimes? Some teachers, not all teachers, some will carry this book and sell somewhere else. These things happen. I'm not saying it's not in all cases, but I'm saying that it's always good for your child to carry their own book, write their own name, and carry it to their house. And know that I own this book. No. Put your activities in the book. It's easier that way, because when you start giving those books, trust me, aside from the malpractice of some of these people, it happens where even some of the printers, there are always issues across board.
These are some of the problems.
When I was in secondary school, they used to steal my own books.
Yes, everybody gets.
So my parents had to keep on buying me books, because they were always stealing our books. But in those days, as opposed to today, school was heavily subsidized. Heavily. Our school fees was 10 naira. Can you imagine school fees? 10 naira then in those days. Books were heavily subsidized. So it was not so jarring on the parents. Now, naira is 1,000.
So it's not even about the kids' book being stolen and resold. Your book is your book. You write your name, Bagala. Those days, if it's about reselling, my father had this Akokia library You just stamp it on all the textbooks. And so all the Akokia children are supposed to use the book. Then me and Makashat, I will now be using my hand to write that I'm using his first name inside the book. Yet, we had books that, my Alawiye, for instance, I had primary 1 to 6 of Alawiye. My other sister had used the same book. We were passing it down. We are supposed to wrap it, use it in the best of conditions so your younger sister can use it, just the way we wore our clothes. But now, the way the books are sold is one child per use.
Yeah.
And the schools are also in connivance with this because the schools are now meeting publishers. You see some books that are not sold in the markets. They are sold at book fairs to schools directly.
Yeah.
The schools have said, okay, in your 20 naira profit, our own is 2 naira.
Not all the time.
Trust me. I'm saying it on live TV. They're not selling it for free, any publisher for free. They say cut. So there are cuts. They have established it inside the sale. And they will ensure that children write in the book in schools. Write in the book, will give you assessment. The teacher himself will mark inside the book, sign and all of that. Make sure that this book cannot be reused by any child. In the days when we went to school, for schools, books that didn't have activity book, you had an exercise book. If they write 2 plus something inside your book, you will write it out in your exercise book for subjects.
Anymore. Everybody's online. All the kids and even all the assignments
online. We are going online later.
I'm not saying that it's all. You see, it's all part of. Well, listen. The point I'm trying to make is that we're all trying to move forward. Schools are trying to move forward. Parents are saying, okay, less paper, the better. So we're saying instead of having textbook and exercise book and activity book, have everything within one. It's saving costs. It's supposed to save costs.
Not only saving costs, it's saving the planet.
Because
I agree.
You're cutting down less trees.
Exactly.
So there's the full circle argument.
That is saving costs, really.
It is.
Really, no, for whom?
It's saving costs for the parents also. You cannot have to buy textbook and buy.
Books are not necessarily cheaper.
You must have activity book. You must have a size book.
They are not necessarily cheaper because they're in one book. But if you say they are saving the planet, I totally agree because we are using less materials to print or to make paper. But when the schools...
I'm sorry, Halima's been holding for a while. I'm so sorry. Halima, are you still there? I'm so sorry. She's been holding for a while. I do apologize, Halima. Yes, go ahead.
So if we talk about the books as it is, the schools are only selling and ensuring that the books are needed per year. Maybe they have an amount they need to sell per child. So they too project. You will see schools like in our school now, they tell you to pay for books ahead. Once the third term is closing, they'll tell you, for those of you approaching primary something, these are the selected number of books you'll be buying, highlight which one you're buying and everything so that they can plan. They go to the publishers, they buy the number of books they need. If you pay at the resumption of school, your child's books will be delayed. Sometimes they never get the books because there's a number of amount of books that they can buy at lesser amount. So they need to do their business. It's a business.
From Godman, from Abuja. Godman, you're live from Abuja.
Okay, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
The challenging things we are seeing in school, I don't know whether the environment differ from other environment. The unity school or government school supposed to be more lesser than private schools. But what I'm observing here, I went for admission in government school. What they gave to me was higher than the private than my child was. Then I have to return the child back to the private school. The government is looking at the school charge, 13,900. levy, 9,000 naira. Paying material fees, 23,750. Admin fee. What is the admin fee? If there is school charge, if there is material charge, admin fee 17,000. ERC transfer form 10,000. Bereg fee 5,000. Posting fee 10,000 naira. Uniform not added. And every other thing, broom, classes, and other things. Where are we going? If you calculate this thing, it's about 90-something thousand naira point. 96,000 naira. So, now I come back to private school. I calculated the private 80-something, 60-something, 70-something. Then where is the help of government to a Nigerian situation, to our own citizens? I'm talking of entry to SS1. What is government really doing? Well, one cannot buy School, students cannot go to school. University is hard to admission. Jam is not easy to come by. Where are we going?
Thank you, Godman.
I love what he has said. You know what he has said? He has not talked about books. So, from what I heard, he didn't talk about books. What he's talking about is all the other charges. That is the argument that I think, forget about books. Your kids need these books.
Anyway, yeah.
All this, they are paying for broom, paying for this. Is it a child supposed to pay for broom? Eh? They are paying for foolish things. And it's just a way of these schools
Extorting.
Yes.
Discussions every day, left.
So that if we are arguing from that point of view, I will not mind. But when you talk about the books, I think leave the books as they are.
So schools actually extort from children from different ways. They find all these levies. But I'm reading a message from a school owner who said that they have to pay parking, bus and sewage permits, tenement rates, land use charge, borehole charges, business premises, development levy, as well as Lagos State signage and advertisement agency, LASA. That's so. As a school owner, so they're probably trying to justify the reasons why they have to make revenue from different sources. One of which is the books. So that according to this,
that's a fraud.
This is one person that is talking.
That's a fraud because until what do you do in your office? Don't pay costs, don't pay charges. In my own office, they put extra money on our units.
Exactly.
EKDC, sorry, units. Not EKDC.
Yeah, but where would you get?
We have units that we get from
clients that pay you now.
The landlord put his own. We are paying a service charge.
It's your client.
We are paying
the money you pay them is not client.
No.
It's in the client.
So there's a way my business is structured that I will not come and take it from books now.
No.
You understand? We pay tuition.
The services you are.
Maybe that caller just counted what we are paying. We will pay tuition. Inside, there was one that gave me bill. They wrote tuition, they still wrote school fees. I'm wondering, what's tuition? What's school fees?
Let me take. God,
The school fees is for the premises. The tuition is
admin fee, holiday fee,
teachers are underpaid.
compulsory camp fee.
Let me take this call.
Even the excursion.
Adebayo, thanks for calling. You're live.
Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you. I'm calling from Abuja.
Abuja, I have a lot of Abuja calls today.
I'm a mother of 3.
Mother of 6. I need volume, please. 3. Okay.
Yes.
Go ahead.
And I would like to just plead with the government.
I can't hear.
To please do something about the buying, the purchasing of books, because it's such a painful thing that my first child, the second child cannot use his book, and the third child cannot also use the second child's book. It's such a painful thing. And to me, it's a wasteful of resources. Government should please do something about it. There's nothing bad if our children can use their each of just like the way you said, we use our clothes. When I was in school, I used my elder sister's book. And we are all here today. We are not dormant.
I didn't hear Adebayo. Thank you very much, Adebayo. But I think she was just saying that that the government should do something about it. But this, I've always said we have to do a paper on this, something that government, everything we do, government to do something. And somebody has to do a paper on what something means, because nobody ever defines what something is.
Regulation.
So listen, my point is, YK, is that things evolve, things change. We keep comparing how we were to today. Things are different. It's not the same economics. It's not the same money that we're earning. There is a total different factors in play here. I'm not saying that how we were raised is better or not better. But you can't say because you got your brother's books and now we're in 2024, the same thing should be happening. There's a possibility.
Nothing really changed.
On different parts of the world, things change.
Can I argue that? Nothing really changed. We just had capitalists moving to government.
Exactly.
There's
That's the reality.
No, that's not the reality. When in governance, things must not work as you run your business, your office. In governance, it's a social contract. You're looking out for your people. Your interest of your people is what you're looking out for. Now we are looking out for private interest, businessmen interest. That's why we are discussing petrol every day. We're looking out for businnesmen and their interests and their investments. We're no longer looking out for the collectiveness of Nigerians. What changed?
Nima, what changed? You own a car. You own a car wash. how much you charge your people is based on the cost.
Oh, my cost?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So you're a business person. You're also charging people
to ensure that I don't rip people
we're not talking about government schools.
No,
I'm talking about private schools.
No, you know that you are discussing that something which that government has to do. You know, everybody say government has to do something.
Yeah, so how government regulate your own business?
It's regulating.
Your own business.
Imagine that you come to my business and my business is causing flooding, or my business, I have clogged drainages. That's government's business to ensure that my business does not cause inconvenience to other people. My business is not to rip people off. If a regular car can be washed for a certain amount, why will in my business
so define what is ripping off? What is defined?
Okay.
Let Amaka jump in to count this thing and then
let's take it up a notch, right? So let's come to tertiary institutions, for example, where the same what they call that thing, is it pamphlet? What's that thing they used to give us again? Handouts. It's the same handouts that I use, that another person will use. And then we all have in year 1, year 2, we all have the same courses that we have to go through, everybody. GS 101, GSS, whether you're studying medicine, you're studying English or law, everybody must do the GSs. But then the lecturers force you that everybody that comes must buy
their handouts.
Like, for example, for me, and because we also have to look at this and look at mischievous children. I was a mischievous child when I was in uni. Why? Because like my parents didn't go to uni in Nigeria. So I assumed that they didn't understand the Nigerian system. So I exploited that. So I used to buy the same textbooks in first semester. I'll still buy the same books again in second semester. The only thing I used to pay different was school fees. And I thought my parents didn't know. When I graduated, I did a 5-year course. I did it all through. And my father said, you think I did not know? I knew. But because you're a girl and I felt you needed extra money, I just allowed you to continue doing that, right? But then what am I trying to say is that my brother, I had a brother that went to school before me. He had the same textbooks, so I had to buy the same textbooks. Why? And if you don't buy that, the lecturers will be on your matter that you didn't buy handouts.
It's a business.
And it's not like an activity book. Why?
Let me take this call from a caller. Tola, thanks for calling. You're live.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, Tola.
Good morning. Yes, so thank you very much, Sister Nima. Let me explain within up to you. So when we pay school, I have 2 children, by the way, in primary school, and I am in education myself. When you pay school fees, you pay admin, you pay levy, you pay PP, you pay all of those things. Now, school will now give you book. They write books, 100,000 naira. You don't know what books these books are. Hold on. When the children now start to bring these books home, you are going to be wowed. You know why you'll be wowed? A book of 900 naira. A book of, so if we would need to talk for writers, talk for publishers, it's the schools that are getting, so schools are doing 300%, 200% on books. These books cannot be passed down. There are special schools that have ways that these things are managed. There are schools where you get a book, it's not your book. It's a rentage system. When you use that book for about a year, if that book is still in good condition, you're passing it down. If your child has not used that book well, you now pay for it, a new one, so that the next generation will have a fresher one. But what private schools are doing, primary schools especially, they want you to keep coming to buy new books. And the prices are extreme. I don't think that writers and publishers are getting as much as they should. You know why? Because the schools are doing the most. That's ripping. See, if I cannot afford it,
Thank you very much, Tola.
I cannot afford it. Oh,
Thank you very much, Tola. I mean,
I cannot talk too much on this because my own child, she don't grow, she don't marry. She's the one now facing, but I know that the books she uses, because she does homeschooling, the books she uses are activity books. All of the books, they write in the books, but that's in another country. So I really don't know what the system is here.
So what I know is that, you see, my own worry, I hear Nima and I hear the cries. I'm a parent also, and I have 4 kids. I'm having these issues in different degrees. But I also know that I don't like it when Nigerians talk with 2 sides of their mouth, because 1 second you're like, oh, let's do international standard. Let's do how it's done. How, we keep bringing this international standard in our head. And when we travel and we see how people, schools, books are printed such that you have activities in there, you don't see people passing one book to the next person. And then we come home and we'll start criticizing and say, no, you can't do that in Nigeria. It is wrong. Government should intervene. Government should do something. I'm thinking to myself, okay, what exactly do you want? Because people are saying, I agree with the economics of it. It's easier for us, especially where we are, that we should pass on the books. But the reality for the book owners, the reality for public school is that, listen, the best way to maximize our revenue, because I can't charge you 50,000 naira per term. The only way I can do is ensure that you're buying my books, you're buying my uniform, you're buying all the various amenities that you need. Then I can make some extra buck here and there to meet up the salaries I need to pay for my teachers, because tomorrow we'll be the same person that said teachers are not properly paid. There are different ways. It's a full cycle. And we experience, I agree that sometimes the money might be too much, but we must also see the full picture, not just one side of the lens we choose to look at.
The reason why this is to ensure that you can cook well, and that's the business of government. If government, for instance, knows that what we are dealing with, the only logical thing here for this buying books every time thing is for the publisher's interest. I agree that the publishers should make money off their creativity. Okay, so this one, government can put in a mechanism and make sure that the publishers get their money. Does it now have to be a million don't blow money? Why can't it be that? If I have 2 children of maybe 2 years apart, they can reuse their book before curriculum changes. Then the new children in that class, they can't all be reusing books. It's impossible. There will be new students who will buy your books. So if you say your target every year is 10 million, that cannot be done. But if we look at the new children who are coming in, at least you will sell 2 million, 3 million, 4 million if per new students. And there's some people who will escape that bracket. We must regulate to ensure that some people escape it. Exactly. There's wastage. Come to my house, come and see what I do with books every session, because my kids are just 4 years apart. Just 4 years later, and they cannot meet in the same class. Wastage piled up that you can't take out.
Let me take Ayola from Abulegwa. Thanks for calling, Ayola.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Good morning. I hope you can hear me clearly.
Yes.
Very clearly.
Yes, Sister Nima, happy birthday to yourself. We happen to share the same birthday.
Happy birthday.
18 September.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, let's start from this side. I am sure most people don't look at it from this side. Do you know that most of these textbooks that have activity in it does not allow our children to write more like we used to write when we were young? If you look at their notebooks, they write
very brief.
Their notebooks are not filled with exercises. It does not exercise their hands. Except the gifted ones, most of them don't have handwriting. Because they don't write well, they don't write much. Apart from the fact that we want our publishers to earn more, we want the school to earn more, they should please allow the children to exercise, allow them to think. From writing the question, the thinking has started already. It is not when they are looking at the book and they are not writing. When you start writing it down, you tend to it makes you at least get 10% of what you're supposed to write down. Then there was I have 3 kids. My school, I changed their school last year. Solely because the school is asking us to pay maintenance fee for the 3 kids, 10,000 per term. Whether they spoil anything in the school or they don't spoil anything in the school, we are mandated to pay 10,000 for my 3 kids every term, apart from the school fees. They introduced this maintenance fee, then the increments, everything last year. So I just no, I just left the school. Then the textbook, there should be a way that will come to the middle ground. We are not saying publishers should not also really fine, but at least if they can do it in such a way that 2 children can use it conveniently. Probably there's a school close to my house that they use that rented one that one caller said earlier. You don't have to buy those books. The schools will buy it.
Thank you very much, Shola.
You will rent it.
When she was talking about writing and writing is important. I remembered when I first went to the US, and as a Nigerian, my mentality is writing. So I'll be in class and I'll be jotting, and everybody just be wondering why I just jotting so much. And then they'll give us assignments. I'll come the next day, I won't do my assignment. Then everybody will come with plenty assignments done. And I'm wondering what happened. Half the time, my assignment was online. Then I had no clue about LMS, learning management system. I had no clue, nothing. So everything was online. So in my own head, I had to jot down every single thing because that's the only way I could learn and go and study. But the reason why they were not jotting my class because many of them knew that all the notes were already online. The assignment was online. They came the next day, they had their assignments. I didn't even have a clue. So the reason I'm bringing this example is that things are different. To somebody who probably grew up saying, okay, listen, it is notes. Somebody in another world is saying, we don't write notes, we go online. They are different worlds. It depends on how you see it. So the point I'm trying to make is that things evolve. Let's not always lock ourselves. This is how we grew up. This is how we know it. Let our children grow up that way. No, it doesn't have to be that way. Things are different today. To you, textbooks are important for you to pass down. To another person, it's important for you to have reference where your own notes are what you write. How you think is in your textbook. You can reference it. Different people learn different way. I'm not trying to put it. I'm not saying that.
This example you are giving, we are not even there yet because this will most likely render most writers redundant in Nigeria.
And that across the world
will fade. Yeah. It will fade away because schools should be in
many schools are uploading their stuff.
They should be in the business of uploading. But they're not even the upload because I tell you, say they get caught. You know, they are not even in the business of uploading. They leave the problem and the burden of buying and disposing on reusable books to us parents. Yeah. Come to my reading, we don't pile them. I can't even give them. I lack the conscience to burn them. I eventually will. I used to send them to the villages in the outskirts, and I had somebody who would go, but she's since graduated, and she's not going to school in any outskirts. So the books are just piled up on my table. This child can't use this one's books, and I'm helpless. And this one too is coming out. We're piling books all this way. The shelves are full of the books I consider important. And I buy some books. I insist on buying them.
Can I ask you a question? All the books, none of the books are reusable.
No, they don't write full.
Let me take this call.
Not even the maths book.
Except pages that are not used.
Alima. Good morning. From Abuja. Are you still there? Good morning. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I am.
Go ahead. You're live.
All right. Good morning. Good morning, Auntie Yenny.
Good morning.
Nima, good morning, Amaka, Morayo. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, on the book matter, one thing I noticed is schools are always out to read parents. Because, okay, let's say children can pass down books to my children, they are just a class apart. The younger ones didn't get to use the older ones' books. I have copies of the same textbooks in my house. I used to be a teacher. There was in the school, the last school I taught, there's a book we bought, a Cambridge book we imported from UK. So the people noticed that book is quite expensive. So because of that, the following session, we stopped parents from buying. The school bought the textbook. Then the children were made to buy only the workbook. They use the workbook, they write in the workbook, but the textbooks were the school's property. We bring them out for the children to use. They use the school, we hold them back from them again. Then all they have to use was the workbook.
Activity book, yeah.
A lot of textbooks that children use these days have workbooks. Why should I keep buying textbooks when I can just buy the school can get their own copies? And then the children will only use the workbook. The teacher's copy can be used to do class work in class.
Yeah.
The last caller talked about writing notes. Yeah. Fine, yeah, it's good to write, but it's not all about writing. School these days is not all about writing. All about writing. I remember post-COVID period in my former school, we were not giving homework home. All our homework were online because we don't want to transfer germs from school to the home and all that. Yeah. Schools can actually help parents. I'm fighting my children's school right now because one thing that happened, because of this 18-year-old whatever issue with JAMB and all that, they didn't have year 6 before. Now they are having year 6 and they are making them reuse the year 5 books.
I think Halima, thank you. I think Halima has answered our question, really. Halima has really solved the problem. Because what she's saying is that, listen, the schools can actually get involved in buying these books or even retaining the books, keeping the books and preserving the books, where kids are only allowed to only buy the activity books or the workbooks. Because when parents are forced to rebuy the book, that's the frustration. Exactly. So yes, you have the books. Now there'll be obviously issues of school books being missing here. That's why the onus therefore is on the school to ensure the safety of those books and protection of the books. But I think the middle ground is that parents should, schools should buy the books or retain the books and ensure that kids have access to it and only have to buy the activity books.
But what I keep hearing, like from friends and families, British, my child's in a British whatever curriculum or American curriculum school. And all the schools that they are online, and almost every child now has a laptop. Yeah. So why are the schools not now uploading those books or letting them buy the e-version of those books online where anybody can reuse them if you have 10 kids,
They're not.
so what, you know, what is going on?
Where I think government
Understand?
should come in. Where I think government should come in is the regulation. Regulate these schools.
Yeah.
Let them stop exploiting parents. It is the exploitation that is frustrating the parents. And so government can regulate and make sure that there is no exploitation of parents.
I think that,
you know, I know, sorry, I have to, let me just say, like uniforms. You have to buy uniforms almost every term.
They grow like trees. They just grow so fast.
So why not just have a standard uniform?
That's a different kettle of one we want to bring.
Go to commission a store, buy uniform from let it not be
Regulate the
so
price
it's a standard
across
uniform.
board.
Everybody is wearing the same uniform. So I can pass that uniform to my younger child. Do you understand?
So we have that now. You're passing uniforms now.
Nigerian schools change uniform every 2 years.
That's not true. YK.
I have 2 children.
I have 4 children.
The uniform that we had before did not have school stamp.
What are you talking about?
The uniform we have
That's your own school. My own school is the same uniform.
Sportswear change.
Michelle is wearing Elizabeth's pinafore right now. I don't know which school you're talking about.
Auntie, my daughter, you know I have a son and a daughter.
I have 2 children. I have 2 daughters and 2 sons.
I put it in a bag, sent to school. Any parent whose child would need it, and they used to find someone. My son's
Let us wrap up on this matter. Let us wrap up on this. But my own school does not change. I don't know of any school that has changed the uniform in 2 years. I don't know. It's any Nima school. That is all we can take on this. But I think YK has rounded this up properly, that let's government regulate, because at the end of the day, we don't want anybody being exploited. You know, I think that's the argument to Nima. I say that stop exploiting these parents. And with the other argument is that schools have to pay bills. The publisher has to eat, so there is a full circle, and we also have to be considerate in all our demands. That's all we can take on this segment. When we come back, move on to the next topic. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.